Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the beginning of something very, very special. So, allow me to introduce you to the Lyons Den Quiz League. Now, my Discord server, the Lyons Den, has all kinds of different competitions. We have GeoGuessr tournaments, leagues, all kinds of stuff, and just general places to hang out. Link is in the description if you are not in the server already. I recommend joining, it's very fun. But this is the first competition we've done, and basically the first series of videos that I've done that is not going to be about GeoGuessr. So as a little bit of background, my two very good friends, Benny and Looney, who Looney you guys probably know as Lunacy Echo, who's obviously a prominent member of the GeoGuessr community as well, they have teamed up and set this whole thing up for us, and it's absolutely fantastic. So Lunacy, obviously, I met through GeoGuessr and learned later that he was big into trivia in college and beyond, and is still big into trivia. And then Benny was somebody that I met in college, and we played Quiz Bowl together for many years, and he was one of the best players on the team the entire time that I was there. Two of my favorite people, amazing guys, and not only are they amazing, but they're also pretty good at trivia, which is an understatement. And they're pretty good at writing it as well, as it turns out. So they decided to join forces here and basically make this league for the Discord server that is basically a series of trivia questions every week, general knowledge type stuff. And it's absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to get going. We did do a trial week before this, and I should have made a video for that, but I didn't think about it. I did make a community post yesterday letting you guys know that this existed, so hopefully most of you saw that. But if you didn't see that and you're seeing this now and you missed the first week, not a big deal. You can always join whenever you want and play the questions whenever. But for any of you who enjoy trivia and just like thinking, basically, this might be the thing for you, because the trivia is genuinely very high quality, and I say that as somebody who has run into a lot of not high quality trivia. I've been to a lot of different bar trivias and stuff with my friends. I've hopped around and done plenty of trivia. Some of it kind of sucks, but I guarantee you these guys, they know trivia well enough to write good questions, and it definitely shows. So without further ado, we're going to get into this. What I'm going to be doing is, so I've already looked through the questions and I've thought about them. Doing them live wouldn't really make sense because I have to like think about them. But I've basically figured out what my answers are going to be for all the questions, and what I'm going to do is kind of talk you guys through how I'm thinking about them, and what I'm doing to solve these questions, or what I'm guessing when I don't know. But yeah, it's there's one thing that I should mention. It is on the screen, but it's going to be 7 quizzes, six questions each. And the most interesting thing is that for each of the 6 question quizzes, you can enhance a question, which basically you get 1 point for every correct answer, but on the question that you enhance, you get the 1 point for the correct answer, if you get it right, of course, plus the percentage of people who got that question wrong. So if like 80% got it wrong, you get 1.8 instead of 1, so it benefits you to enhance a harder question, but obviously it's harder to get harder questions right and to be confident about them. Excuse me. So yeah, that's about it, but I'm so excited to get going here. And we are going to open quiz number 1. Now, I accidentally submitted quiz number 1 yesterday because I forgot I was making a video, but Lunacy gave me the form again. So, so very quickly, I want to take a look at the standings as well. This is how they currently stand. These are updated live. So you can see people's scores. 6 point something is always going to be the maximum possible score for a quiz. But this is the leaderboard right now. I can hide my face cam to show you who's actually at the top. This is how it looks. But yeah, the averages on the quizzes are around 3 to 4 in terms of total points. That's including enhancements, and a couple of insanely strong scores at the top. I'm going to try and get close to that, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to pull it off. But yeah, the first quiz is a general knowledge quiz written by Benny. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to jump into these questions and talk you guys through them. So the first quiz is called, by the way, NA Regional Qualifiers, and as you can see, each of the questions features the name of somebody from the NA Regionals, first one being Gingy. So we're asked, the SNL sketch Gingy guest stars which actress, blah, 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 died in 2021 just before her 100th birthday. So I don't know a lot about pop culture. This is something that's going to come up a lot. but this is something that was super famous and in the news, and I do remember this. So this was Betty White, who was like one of those people who was like really famous for being old at a certain point. Like she was really old and also just like beloved, of course. And it was kind of a big deal when she died, and it was just before her 100th birthday, and they were like planning her birthday party and everything. But anyway, that's what this one's going to be, and I suspect that question will play pretty easy. Question 2, which 2 planets does Sinatra mention in Fly Me to the Moon? And of course this is Fly Me. So this is going to be Jupiter and Mars. I don't know the song very well, but I can hear Sinatra in my head singing like Jupiter and Mars, right? So that was a horrible attempt at singing that, but you got it. But of course, chief god of the Roman pantheon and Roman god of war makes that pretty easy if you know your gods. Question 3, oil from what tree could be used to prevent prostate cancer? Don't let the name fool you. This tree isn't used to make summer shoes. It is, however, used in Southeast Asian cuisine and for making Hindu idols, and its oil is commonly used for its fragrance. The biggest clue for me on this one was the don't let the name fool you. It's not used to make summer shoes. This one took me a second to think of, but I think this is going to be sandalwood. Oh, by the way, sorry. I know this is going to be sandalwood because I accidentally submitted this quiz already, so my results are already in. But, I mean, you know, I'm answering the way I answered before anyway. But this is one of the harder questions just because I think it's a little bit more difficult to think of. But yeah. Question 4, which author coined the word moo cow in his novel Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man? As somebody who did Quiz Bowl for a long time and studied a good deal of literature for Quiz Bowl, and I was like pretty much primarily a literature player, or at least a pretty good literature player when I was in college, I do know a lot of random stuff about literature, even if I haven't read a lot of the books. But Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man and Finnegan's Wake are both famous things by James Joyce, which I think easy for me, but I think that's something that's going to play pretty hard among the general population. Yeah. Question 5. This is pretty easy. I think I don't know. It's a very famous movie. I don't want to call things easy because like nothing's easy, but it's like just relative to the other stuff, I guess. But this is of course Inception, which is a famous and fantastic movie. But that very famous final scene from Inception where the top is spinning and it kind of wobbles at the end, and then the screen goes dark and you don't know if it fell or not. And then the final question is about the film Blackfish, which I have seen before, and it is about the mistreatment of orcas at SeaWorld. And so, yeah, it's going to be orcas or killer whales. So I believe I already submitted this. I'm pretty sure the one that I enhanced was question 4 because, again, I don't expect general population to know much about who James Joyce is. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. Okay, I'm going to have to edit that out because I showed my email, but whatever, that's fine. Anyway, going to submit this, and this should be 6 out of 6. Really? Really? Okay, good. So it doesn't show the email or anything here. Okay, so that's 6 out of 6. Very solid start. I think maybe on the easier side as the quizzes go. I'll check what the average was for that one. But yeah, and you can see if I close this and I go to the leaderboard, my name is on the leaderboard somewhere near the bottom because, yeah, I played that first quiz and I got the maximum score, so the gold medal. So moneying Joyce was the correct, or enhancing Joyce was the correct decision. And the quiz average was 4.07, so the easiest quiz of the 7 this week. And next, I will go to quiz number. First one, for sale baby shoes never worn. This is a famous thing by Ernest Hemingway. The clue about the novella about the fisherman's years-long effort to catch a marlin is, of course, The Old Man and the Sea, which is maybe more well-known than the baby shoes thing. I'm not actually sure. Again, as a literature player, this is something I just know, but I don't think it's that easy necessarily. I'm not totally sure, to be honest. But yeah, this is going to be Hemingway. Question 2. During a campaign in Egypt, Napoleon's troops used cannonballs to shoot off what part of a larger structure? This is, of course, false. Took me a second, but I believe this is probably going to be the nose of the Sphinx, because obviously we're in Egypt, and like, what's a thing that is prominently missing from a large structure in Egypt? Obviously the pyramids are just pyramids, but the Sphinx notably does not have a nose. So let's just write nose of the Sphinx. So yeah, I hope that's right. Again, not 100%, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Question 3 is a video question that I will actually play the video for you guys. Shouldn't be any copyright issues or anything with this.
Baby penguins are frozen with fear. They know if they fall from this cliff, they will surely die. Gunther, give them a shove.
Harnessing the jellyfish we've trained to obey simple voice commands.
So, that's a fun clip from the Penguins of Madagascar. I can't actually hear it, but I think it was audible on screen, I hope. But the question asks, the makers of the 58 Disney documentary White Wilderness followed a similar procedure when filming a segment on what animals, popularizing a mass misconception about their behavior. So, not sure, but I think this is probably lemmings, because at least in my mind, lemmings are like those animals that, like, if they jump off a cliff, then they all follow each other, which is probably the misconception, because that's a thing that I've heard many times before, that they do that, and I've always found it a bit crazy, but apparently it's false, which makes a lot of sense, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and say lemmings here. I did not know that this came from a documentary. Cool little factoid. But I assume that's the answer that we're going for here. Question number 4. Oscar Hammerstein wrote the lyrics for 2 songs from old musicals with cultural obviously, if you're not noticing, the theme is major cultural misconceptions. But it asks for either musical that one of these songs came from, and it gives some lyrics: a figure called the Mississippi, a plant small and white, clean and bright. I'm not sure what the first one is, but thankfully we only need one. The second one is Edelweiss from The Sound of Music, which makes sense that it's mistaken as the national anthem of Austria, because it's such a famous song from a musical set in Austria. But go ahead and say The Sound of Music. I'll actually be interested to see what the answer is for the other one, but thankfully that's not part of the answer I need. This is the one question on this quiz that I'm very unsure about. Though many believe it to come from a phrase involving dreaming about sports, the name of what company is actually the abbreviated name of a European inventor born in 1900? Not sure. Sports, I'm trying to think of companies that are related to sports. I think like Nike or Adidas or like ESPN or something like that. Nike, I believe, is an American company based in Oregon. I think Adidas is German, or Adidas, or however you're meant to say it. That is probably going to be what I guess here. I'm nowhere near confident enough to enhance that, because I don't know if that's the answer or not, but it's a sports company that could be the abbreviated name of an inventor. I don't know, and it's definitely European. So it's the best guess I've got. It's a bit of a shot in the dark. It could be like Reebok or Fila or something. I mean, there's a lot of options here, but I'm going to go ahead and guess Adidas and just hope for the best. And question 6, in an urban legend about the game Civilization. So I've played a lot of Civilization myself, but this is a very funny meme within Civilization, that when this guy's aggression value is so low that achieving in-game democracy drops it to -1, causing an overflow error, and then he becomes hyper-aggressive. This is apparently not true. I don't really get to the late game enough to confirm or deny whether this is true, because I don't know, like, it's very common to just play the early game a lot in Civilization. But this is Gandhi, and it's just the famous thing in Civ that Gandhi nukes everybody, or that's supposedly what he does. So that's going to be the answer here. A little tricky to know what to enhance on this quiz. I might go with... I feel like Hemingway, Lemmings, and Gandhi are all decent candidates for this. I don't know how many people know Civ, but I feel like that's kind of a famous thing. I don't know. I'm probably just biased because I know the game really well. I might go with Lemmings because, well, does that make sense though? Damn. I actually don't know what to money here to enhance. I might actually try Lemmings, but I'm not sure whether this is the right move here. I think it's at least a decently difficult question, but I'm not sure how difficult, but I think I'll get decent points regardless. So let me pause, put my email in, and be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and submit this. It will show the answer, so I will be able to see if I was right or wrong. And Ernest Hemingway, The Sphinx's Nose, Lemmings, The Sound of Music, Adidas, and Gandhi. That is huge, man. Adidas is crazy. I did not expect that to be correct. I'm guessing the get rate on that's going to be quite low, but I was not confident enough at all to money that. But super, super happy that I actually got it. So that's 6 out of 6 on each of the first 2 quizzes, which is, well, it's a lot better than I did last week in the trial week, so I'll take it. Not sure if I enhanced optimally, but I think it'll be good enough. Beautiful. Okay, so that's the first 2. Again, super fun, just well-written questions, just enjoyable to play, to be honest. Pop culture, if at first you succeed. All right, so starting with question 1 on the pop culture quiz. The unexpected success of a 79 sci-fi film led them to greenlight a sequel directed by James Cameron, still starring Sigourney Weaver. Titles were nearly identical, with the sequel adding what single letter to the title of the original? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on here. It's a sci-fi film from 1979. I'm trying to think of sci-fi films that are famous. I thought of Alien, which I don't know if that's a sci-fi film or a horror film, or both. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But I don't even know what the answer would be. Like, Aliens, I think, is a movie, but like I'm pretty sure they're completely different things, so I don't think the answer would be S. I honestly, on this one, I just gave up and just decided to guess like a random letter that you might see in a sci-fi movie. So I'm just going to say X for no apparent reason and just hope that that works. But I have no idea what this question is referring to, so yeah, basically no clue. Question number 2. One of the most well-known prequels developed in the wake of a popular TV series centers on what Albuquerque-based former con artist? So this is referring to Better Call Saul, which is the prequel series to Breaking Bad. Both absolutely amazing series, by the way. I watch very little TV, but these are series that I've seen, and they're so good. So this guy is known as Saul Goodman or Jimmy McGill, so I'll just write Saul Goodman. And yeah, highly recommend watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. But I think a fairly easy question just because so many people know that. This one was probably the most satisfying question of the week for me because it took me all week basically to think of this. So there's a clip of a song and you're basically asked, so the song is apparently a sequel to another song and you're asked what the prequel song is. So I'm going to play the song. It might get copyrighted, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so I had an aha moment earlier today when listening to this clip for like the 10th time. So at first I thought it was U2 because the voice sounded to me a lot like Bono. There are a lot of songs by U2. I don't know, like the voice sounded similar enough that it was plausible that it could be U2. But I was trying to think of what U2 song could it be a sequel to? And I was having no luck. I was like, what are U2 songs like? Beautiful Day, Pride in the Name of Love, etc., etc. None of them really made any sense, so I was just kind of stumped here. And then I read the question text again, for the 50th time, and saw a boy with eager eyes. And finally it clicked to me that the phrase eager eyes shows up in Mr. Brightside by the Killers, which is surely, I think, the right answer. Because I don't know the Killers very well. I know 2 songs by the Killers, Mr. Brightside and Somebody Told Me. And both of those songs have a very, I don't know, I would say similar sound. And I've listened to a couple of Killers songs before, different ones, and thought to myself, wow, this sounds nothing like those 2 songs that I know. I would never have guessed that this is actually the Killers. So I think that's what's happening here. It was kind of why the voice kind of sounded like U2, but didn't quite sound like it. I wouldn't have gotten there just from the voice, but the question text was just enough. So I think the answer here is going to be Mr. Brightside. And it makes sense because it's Mr. and then Miss, and then the eager eyes thing is a very cool clue. So that's kind of my thought process for that one. Question number 4, this was another one that was a sort of aha moment that was really nice when it clicked. We're asked, these 8 actors are the 8 actors who have had roles in every main film so far in what franchise? So the only name I recognize in this list is Tom Hanks. I don't know who the heck the other people are. I'm trying to think, what movies is Tom Hanks in that are series, like a franchise of movies? And I can think of so many Tom Hanks movies, but none of them are franchises. I'm sitting here thinking, whatever, like Castaway, Captain Phillips, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, etc. So many famous movies with Tom Hanks in them, but none of them are franchises. And then it finally clicked that it's Toy Story, because Tom Hanks voices Woody in Toy Story. So it was another very nice moment when I finally figured out what the heck was going on there. And it makes sense I haven't heard of the other ones because they're voice actors, basically. So maybe not as known for starring in other movies, but Tom Hanks, obviously a very good clue there. Yeah. Question number 5. A game known as Crazy Auto during development was bought by the company Namco and transformed into a sequel to what classic game? One of the only visible in-game differences is that in the sequel the main character wears a bow. So there is this pizza restaurant in Tahoe City, California, that has a Ms. Pac-Man machine, and sometimes we would play on the Ms. Pac-Man machine while waiting for our pizza. So I know that Ms. Pac-Man wears a bow, whereas obviously the normal Pac-Man does not. So the answer here should just be Pac-Man. I think this is pretty easy, but I don't know classic games well at all, so it's kind of fortunate I had that way in, because I'm usually going to whiff on questions like this. So that's nice that I was able to get to that one. And finally, what TV show was just called A Fable about modern capitalist society by its creator is receiving a second season this year after an incredibly successful first season, and then there's apparently a reality game show spin-off of it. Not 100% sure on this one, but I'm guessing here that the answer is going to be Squid Game, because this is a show that I did watch, obviously was extremely successful in the first season, and there is a reality spin-off of it where they don't actually kill the people, but I'm pretty sure I have heard about spin-offs, even though I haven't actually watched them. I know that like Mr. Beast did like Squid Game stuff on his channel. Anyway, so I think this makes a lot of sense. In Fable about capitalism, given the whole concept is like they're all in debt or whatever, I think it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go ahead and say Squid Game for this one. So this went better than pop culture sets are usually going to go for me. I think I'm going to be wrong on the alien question or whatever the heck is going on in number 1, but the rest I think I'm decently confident about. And I'm going to go ahead and money Mr. Brightside because it took so long for me to think of that, and I really think it's not that obvious from the voice that it's actually the killers, so I think it's going to be a tough connection for people to make. So I'm going to go ahead and enhance question number 3, and I will submit. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Oh my god, I should... Really? Really? I can't believe that. I could have had 6 out of 6. I said it in the video. You guys heard me say there's a movie called Aliens. I thought it was totally separate. I thought it was a totally separate... I don't know why I thought it was a better idea to guess a random letter. That's insane, man. That's insane. Oh my... I could be perfect right now. Oh my god. That's wild, dude. Wow. I'm really glad I got Mr. Brightside and Toy Story and Squid Game, but man, that stings a little bit. You gotta be kidding me, man. I thought they were totally separate movies. I didn't think they were related. That's on me. I mean, I haven't seen either of them, so why am I even trying to use that? Damn. Okay. Well, I'm 17 out of 18, which is honestly still crazy, so I'm perfectly okay with how it's gone so far. Quiz number 4. All right, so this fourth quiz is a visual quiz, and this is the example given. So here we have ni yon, we have cop per, and then we have tongues and den, and this would be neon, copper, and tungsten. So you're supposed to figure out what the hidden connection is between the three things. So of course neon, copper, and tungsten would all be chemical elements. So that's the idea here. Now this is pretty tricky. There are a couple of these that are really quite hard. The first one is one of them. I don't know what's going on here. The only thing that I have gotten out of this is the first one. I want to say the first picture is the core of an apple, and the second one could be jet, and I'm thinking courgette could be courgette, like the French word for zucchini, which I think is also the British word for zucchini. But that doesn't really get me that far because I don't know what B and C are. There's dog flour and axis rash or something. I don't know what the heck's happening in these two, and I haven't figured it out. And I'm thinking, what could it be? It could just be vegetables. But why would it be courgette? Like, I don't know. If the quiz maker was American and it was just vegetables, I don't know why you would choose courgette as one of them, because it's like not a very American word. I thought it could be like vegetables where we use the French name or something, but the others, like, again, I'm not getting anything. Like, I would think aubergine or something would be in here. So now I'm left with kind of nothing, because like, what else could courgette be? So my total punt shot in the dark thought is that courgette could be a shade of green. So this is almost certainly wrong, but I have no better guess. So it's just kind of a random punt. But that's a hard question. I don't know what's going on, but I'll be interested to see what they actually were once I submit. Question 2. This one is a little bit more straightforward. I see lamb, berg, and then innie, an innie belly button. I don't know what B is. C, I don't know who the heck this is, but this looks like a zoo and that looks like a key. So zoo key, I assume the first thing is Sue, so that's somebody named Sue. So Suzuki and Lamborghini, I believe all they want is just car companies. I don't think it's anything more specific than that. Like, it's not luxury cars or anything, sports cars, because I don't think Suzuki is considered a sports car or anything like that. So I'm just going to go general and go with car companies here. Question number 3 is a little more straightforward, especially for the geography people. Number 1, we have a cart and a tomb. Number 2, we have a cab and a bull. And number 3 is a man, or the symbol for a man, and then agua, Spanish water. So that would be Khartoum, Kabul, and Managua. So these are world capitals. Question number 4. I have no clue what A is, by the way. B took me a second, but this is the logo for DoorDash on the right, and the first thing is just a ball. So ball plus DoorDash, I eventually figured out means balderdash. And then C is cut and tan, which again took me a sec, but I figured out that is supposed to be Catan or Catan, which is how I say it, but Settlers of Catan. So these are both board games, so I assume A is a board game. Again, I don't know what it is, but I don't need to know what it is. It's just like the carcass of a cow plus on. I'm not sure, but anyway, these should be board games. Number 5, this one took me a second. The first two I was like totally lost. C is obviously a mu, and then I eventually figured out that the thing to the right of the mu is LAN, like local area network. So this is like a symbol used for like LAN when you're playing. Well, you get the idea. But mu plus LAN gives you Mulan. And I was thinking, okay, so like Mulan, so are these just Disney movies? Are they Disney princesses? It still took me a while to figure out what the others were. But the first one is or which is Aurora, which is like insane. Like that's Sleeping Beauty, but that's like really hard. And then B is air and eel, which gives you Ariel. I think C is by far the easiest one there. If I hadn't known that, I don't think I would have gotten to A and B. And then 6 is maybe the hardest of all. I have no clue what's going on here. B looks like stir and then something in Morse code. So it's probably just a letter. And then the others, there's some fencing thing. There's like an Animaniacs character or something. And then there's like dandruff and like a fish of some kind. Totally lost. But I think like stir plus a letter got me to sturdy, like sturdy. But I can't even think of what category the word sturdy would fit into. So I'm just going to go ahead and guess like synonyms synonyms for solid or something. This is completely wrong, but I'm out of ideas here. I don't know what A and C are. It's like jab or something plus the name of a character I don't know, and then C is sturgeon flake. Like I got nothing. So no clue on number 6. Really hard to know what to enhance here, to be honest. I'm not confident enough that 1 is right. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it's wrong. I think 2 and 3 are too easy. 4 and 5 are the ones I'm between, because again, I'm not getting 6. I don't know which of these is harder. I'm trying to think about the audience that's playing this quiz. Like, I feel like these are the type of people that might know board games pretty well. but I don't know if how well known is Balderdash, and then getting to Catan from Catan might not be that easy. I don't know. And 5 seems hard, but I'm wondering if Mulan is a little bit too much of a giveaway. So it's honestly quite hard to know what to do with this. And I still am kind of undecided. I'm going to have to make a decision. What do I think fewer people would get? I think I'm going to go ahead and money number 5. I think they're probably going to be pretty close get rate wise. I'm not sure which is better to money. I keep saying money, by the way. I'm in an online trivia league where like doing the same thing is called moneying, so I'm calling it moneying instead of enhancing, but it's the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think it's hopefully good enough. So number 1 is... No way, dude. Oh. Oh, this... Ooh. Oh, this is very interesting. Precious Gems, Birthstones, or Steven Universe characters? What the heck? Perry plus Dot, no chance. Rue plus B, what the hell? What is Rue? And then, oh my god. So B, so it's the letter B. Oh, this is impossible, dude. That's so hard. What? That's a Gar and a Knit? A knit like a baby louse? I thought it was a piece of dandruff. That is so hard. Number 6 is crazy difficult. Number 1, I'm mad. I'm mad because... Oh, Carcass on. Ah, that makes sense. Okay. So, I tried to metagame the quiz and it totally backfired on me. Courgette, I was right. I just didn't think that... I didn't think he would use the British name for the vegetable if the category was just vegetables. I don't know. But he did. So, fair enough. Totally got me there. However, I'm not sure I'm a fan of number 2 there, because that was a border collie, not a collie. Like, that, a collie is a different thing. And if it was a collie... I mean, I should have... It was obviously flour. So I should have made the connection anyway. But, like, that wasn't a collie. Like, am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe this is a null complaint, but I feel like that's a border collie, not a collie. I don't know. I didn't think of collie because it was a different breed. So maybe a little bit deceptive there, but what the heck. And it was just spin, really? Spin, itch. Okay. That wasn't that hard. I kind of choked it. The one I missed, the one I got was maybe the hardest one. That's kind of rough. I got the rest, though. Cars, Capital Cities, Board Games, Princesses, and number 6 was completely ungettable as far as I'm concerned. I mean, some people will get it probably, but that's crazy, crazy hard. So I'm not worried about that one at all. But still, very, very fun. You can see people moneying one that's 0.94, which is clearly the last one. And now it's 0.95. It just updated. So yeah. Very cool quiz again, though. Again, the common theme among all of these is that they're awesome. They're very well written, so I love them. Question number 5, or quiz number 5. So question number 1 asks, many car headlights use bulbs named for what group of chemical elements? And these are 7 valence electrons in the second column from the right. So this is group 17, or the halogens. Pretty easy, I think. I mean, again, I don't want to say easy, but like, as compared to the rest of the questions in the quiz, I think it's one of the easier ones. Just because I guess it's kind of, I don't know, it's just knowable for, I guess, people who've taken chemistry, or if you just know about what's in car headlights. I don't know. Question number 2 is 3-way catalytic converters, oxides of what element? Not positive here, but it says it's found in nature as an elemental diatomic gas. Now, I know that the only diatomic gases are bromine, iodine, nitrogen, chlorine, hydrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. So it's one of those 7. And I want to say, I don't know why, but I have an association with iodine and catalytic converters. I don't know why or where. It's probably just some like figment of Quiz Bowl or of my imagination. But I want to say this one is iodine. Not positive, but that's my best guess. The wheel and axle is an example of what class of mechanical devices. I believe they just want simple machines here. Includes lever, pulley, and wedge. Those are all simple machines. Question number 4 is about gears. I don't know what's happening here. The most common type of automatic transmission in cars involves systems of gears described by what adjective comes from the fact that blue gears revolve around the yellow gear, which spins but does not move laterally. So the fact that it's not moving makes me think it's going to be something like stationary or like fixed or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and guess stationary. It's a total punt, but it's probably something along these lines. Question number 5 is really interesting. This is not something that came to me immediately, but it's a chemical reaction that is the secret to the functionality of an unseen car part, usually unseen car part, that involves the explosion of molecules. So I'm thinking, what's an unseen car part that explodes? Well, the airbag. When you crash, the airbag blows up in your face, and that's not something you usually see unless you get in a crash. I've never seen an airbag. So yeah, checks out, and I think this is I might be wrong, but I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's a really cool question. And then question number 6, shifting a car to a lower gear will allow the wheels to produce a higher value for what quantity? The rotational equivalent to force. Now, again, in the years when I was playing Quiz Bowl, like, consistently, I would have gotten this easily. This is something that's kind of faded from my head, but I think it's torque. I think torque, I know, is the rotational analog of something. I'm not sure if it's force or something else, but I want to say this is torque. And I think I'm confident enough to take the risk and money this, because I think it's pretty hard compared to the rest, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong here, and I'm going to be kind of frustrated if I am. But I think I'm going to go ahead and go for that. So we're going to go ahead and submit this, and I hope the answer is actually torque. It is torque. Beautiful. Halogens, nitrogen. Well, that's really interesting. Okay. Planetary. Wow. Planetary? Jesus. So it's like planets around the sun? That I was never getting. That's a really interesting one. And then nitrogen. It was talking about like that element being in the atmosphere and being like problematic, like harmful or something. And I'm just thinking nitrogen is like most of the air in the atmosphere. So I didn't think nitrogen compounds would be an issue, I guess, or something. And for some reason I associate iodine with catalytic converters, but I now think that's completely wrong. So that's kind of tough. So that's only 4 out of 6 there, but still a pretty solid performance. I was never getting question 4, and thankfully torque was correct. And I think that is a decently difficult question. Especially like the airbag question, just because it made me think outside the box, but it was very well phrased in a way that it was still gettable. So very cool question there. Question number 6. So arts and lit generally is going to be one of my stronger categories. So the last quiz is going to be a STEM quiz every week. Not the last quiz, sorry. Number 5, like the one I just did, is generally going to be a STEM quiz. I'm a little bit weaker in those topics, but I'm generally pretty good with arts and literature. So this is going to be an art quiz. So let's take a look at it. What was the first name of the most famous woman with the last name Del Giocondo to be depicted in a painting? Her last name is the inspiration for the name La Gioconda. So La Gioconda is the Mona Lisa. It's sort of the other well-known name for the Mona Lisa. Oddly enough, I'm not actually sure what the answer is here. I want to say it's just Lisa because it's the first name, but I'm worried it could be like Mona or something, or maybe her full first name is Mona Lisa. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and say Lisa because it sounds like a first name, but not positive here. Anyway, question number 2. What word fills in the blank in all the following titles? It's used more generally to refer to religious depictions of the Virgin Mary. So religious depictions of the Virgin Mary are referred to as Madonnas. So Madonna, the Sistine Madonna, Madonna of the Pomegranate, etc. Question 3. French Impressionist artists commonly associated with depictions of female dancers. So over half his works depict them. That's actually kind of a crazy stat. So yeah, I know a lot of French Impressionist artists like Monet and Manet and Pissarro and Renoir, etc. But the one who is famous for painting dancers is Edgar Degas. So it's definitely going to be him. Question number 4. The Armada portrait portrays which ruler sitting in front of depictions of ships at sea, has her hand on a globe in that painting to symbolize her control of the oceans. So defeated the Spanish Armada. So I'm not 100% on this, but I think the Spanish Armada was like a Britain thing. Like they came up to Britain and attacked or something. My history knowledge is a bit fuzzy, but I associate the Spanish Armada with Britain, and I'm thinking if this is a ruler of Britain who is female and name and number is required, I see no better answer than Elizabeth I. It's not going to be Victoria or anything because Victoria doesn't have a number, so surely I'm thinking Elizabeth I here. Question 5. The Broken Column, The Wounded Deer, and Diego on My Mind are all self-portraits by which artist? So I know a bit about her, notably that she was married to Diego Rivera, and also that she had back pain and was in an accident when she was young. So this is another famous thing about Frida Kahlo. It's definitely going to be Frida Kahlo. And then question number 6. Scene below is one of the many depictions of Marilyn Monroe done by Andy Warhol. Is what kind of artwork? Has a one-word name with 7 letters, refers more generally to works of art with 2 distinct panels that form the piece. So a work of art with 3 distinct panels that form the piece is called a triptych, and that is more well known. This one is called a diptych because it's the same thing except with 2 instead of 3. I think that's quite hard, so I think I'm going to enhance number 6. To me, it seems like the hardest question. Not sure. I think that maybe Elizabeth or Frida Kahlo, or Degas pretty tough too, but I still think number 6 is probably the hardest one here. So we'll go ahead and submit this quiz. Lisa is correct. Good. Madonna, Degas, Elizabeth 1, Frida Kahlo, and diptych. 6 out of 6. Absolutely beautiful. Right in my wheelhouse, most of those questions. And again, very fun, very well written, just like they make you think. So this quiz is entitled 6 Flags Over Texas, which refers to the 6 different flags over Texas. Anyway, first one, the Spanish flag first flew over Texas in 1519. 3 years earlier, Spain's King Charles I ascended to the throne. He was part of what royal house? So, okay, I suck at royal houses. This is always something I've been bad at. When they ask about this in Quiz Bowl, I'm like, I don't know them. I know a few of the English ones and a few other random ones. Now, this is really annoying because when I was trying to work through this question and trying to think of houses that exist, since Dune 2 came out like a week ago, and I'm like watching a bunch of clips from Dune and rewatching the first movie, I'm trying to think of houses, and literally the only thing coming into my mind is like Atreides, Carino, and Harkonnen, which is so annoying because I'm trying to think of actual houses, but not much came to me here other than like random English ones that I knew were wrong. The only thing I can think of that he could even possibly be right is Habsburg, and I know that that's just, I don't know. It's just a house that existed in a lot of places in Europe for a very long time, so I think it's a decent guess, but I have no idea. This is something I should know, but I don't. I probably would have guessed Bourbon if Bourbon wasn't written here, but it was, so I'm going to go ahead and guess Habsburg and hope for the best. King Louis XIV of France signed the Edict of Fontainebleau, which called for the removal of all schools and sites of worship of what religious group in France? Another one that I should know, and I don't, which is kind of tough. Religious group, I'm thinking probably something Christian. Like, I don't think we're talking about Jews. I don't think we're talking about Islam. I think it's too early for that. So my thought is that it's some subset, some denomination of Christianity. I don't even know what denomination Louis XIV belonged to, but I want to say it's just like Catholics or Protestants or something. I'm probably going to go ahead and guess Catholics because I don't associate France with Catholicism, so maybe it makes sense that he removed Catholic stuff, but I don't know. This is a total guess. Question 3. The Mexican flag first flew over Texas in 1821. During that time, the territory that eventually became the Republic of Texas was part of a state called Blank y Texas. What current Mexican state fills in the blank? Both alphabetically second and second largest of the ones that border Texas. So, trying to think of what borders Texas, I can think of Chihuahua, Coahuila, Nuevo León, and Tamaulipas. I don't think Sonora borders Texas. The other 4 should. Excuse me. Now, Chihuahua is the largest state in Mexico. So the second largest one should be whichever one is slightly smaller than Chihuahua, and I think that one should be Coahuila because it is also very big and is also alphabetically second. Chihuahua, Coahuila, and then obviously Nuevo León, Tamaulipas. So my thought here is that this is going to be Coahuila. Not sure how hard that's going to play because it's geography, and I don't want to enhance anything geography given the demographics that are playing this quiz, but also that's not that easy, so we'll see. Flag for the Republic of Texas, first flew over Texas in 1836, was pronounced independent in treaty with Mexico signed by what Mexican general? This should be, I believe, Santa Anna, who oversaw Mexican forces at the Battle of the Alamo. Very, very famous Mexican general. If you know any Mexican general, it's probably him. Probably too easy to enhance, not sure, but yeah. Another one here that I'm not sure about. 1845 marked the beginning of a massive influx of immigrants to the U.S. from what country? One thing I should mention is that I have no mental timeline whatsoever. I have no idea when things happen compared to other things. So I'm thinking, what's a country that would have a crap ton of immigrants to the U.S.? The only thing that comes to my mind is Ireland because of the potato famine. I don't know when the potato famine was, like literally no idea, but this seems reasonable enough, 1845. So coffin ships I've heard of, but I can't place it. So I guess I'm just going to go with Ireland here. It's a guess that I feel decent about. So yeah. And then the final question of the week. The flag of the Confederate States first flew over Texas in 1861. 2 years later, a Confederate priest named John Bannon went to Rome to attempt to convince which pope to recognize the Confederacy as a legitimate state. He's better known for being the longest-serving pope in history. So, this one I've been agonizing over because this is a hard question. And there have been so many Pope questions in Quiz Bowl that it's honestly a little bit insane that I don't know who the longest-serving Pope in history was, but I actually don't off the top of my head, or at least I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of popes that I know. Obviously, the recent ones like Francis, Benedict XVI, John Paul II, it's not going to be any of them because it's 1861. Other ones I can think of are like the really famous ones like Gregory, like the Gregorian calendar guy, and like whatever. There are a few that are just famous. But from like a long time ago. Then there's ones that I know because they were like mischievous and I learned about them in a Salmonella video. And then there are a few with really hilarious names. Most notably Hilarious is literally a pope. But none of those are right. The only other pope that comes to mind for me is Pius IX. Now, I don't know how long Pius IX served for, but something inside me tells me that he may be the longest serving pope in history. Maybe that's why I know who he is. I don't know when he was alive, but it certainly could be this time. So I think I'm going to take a gamble here and go for Pius IX. I am not sure, but if this is right, I'm going to enhance it as well. If this is right, it's huge because it's going to be a low get rate. If it's wrong, it's going to hurt. So I really hope this is Pius IX. So this is the quiz. I don't feel good about questions 1 and 2. I am unsure about question 6. The rest, I'm also unsure about question 5. So this could go pretty badly. This might be my worst quiz of the week. So tough to end it on a tricky one, but we'll see how it ends up for me. I really hope Pius IX is correct, please. Yes. Oh my God, let's go. Oh, that's huge. Okay, it was actually Protestants. Okay, so I did not know. I'm guessing Louis XIV was Catholic. I don't actually know. But got that one wrong. I was thinking maybe it's more likely he's Protestant and was... I don't know. I don't know, man. It's fine. Habsburg was correct. I did not expect that to be correct. Ireland, I wasn't sure, but the huge one is Pius IX. I feel so good about pulling that. That's a really tricky question. So super, super happy about that. And honestly, quite happy about how the quizzes went overall. The trial week that we just played that I didn't make a video of was kind of rough for me. There were a lot of questions that I got wrong that I shouldn't have missed, and then there were also questions that I enhanced and then missed. So that's never a good look. But I think this week went really well, and I think I'm honestly in contention for the top few spots. So I don't know if this is... So it updated to include... Ooh, so I moneyed correctly on number 2 as well, which is lovely. Really? So Adidas was not actually the hardest question. Well, that's fascinating. Which one did I enhance again? Lemmings. So Lemmings is actually the hardest one. Let's go. That's huge. This one, ooh, 4.83. Wow. So I moneyed the Mulan one, the Disney Princesses one, and that was only a 17% get rate. So that's, wow. I'm doing well so far. I could honestly take first. It's close, but I could take first here. And then question 3, 62. I don't know if that was the optimal. No, there was a .71, but the .71 might be the one that I missed. I'm not sure, but it looks like the one I enhanced was the second best one. And then this one here, quiz 4, looks like I also enhanced the second best one. The first one was question 6, which I was never going to get. So, wow. Doing well so far. And I think what I might do here is pause the recording because this is updating pretty quickly live. So I might be able to see my final placement once the rest of the leaderboard updates. So I think I'm going to pause the recording and hopefully come back and see if it's updated. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that I popped off. 40.73, and I think that gap is wide enough that it shouldn't change enough to change the result. So unless somebody else plays after me, I'm going to take first in week number 1, which is crazy. And I feel a little bit annoyed because there were still points that I left on the table there. There were a couple, like the aliens thing. Why did I not put S there? And then there was the cauliflower thing, like it wasn't a collie, but like, yeah, I should have just been thinking outside the box. I actually thought of border collie, and I was just like, there's no way that the actual answer has border collie in it, so I just dismissed it. So probably should have been able to get there on a couple more of them, which would have raised my score even more. But hey, I mean, there were a few questions I was unsure about that I answered really well, and that, at the end of the day, went fantastically. So super happy with the performance. Yeah, I'm glad I stepped it up from last week and was able to cross the 40-point mark, which is awesome. But that was a long video. I'm sorry it was as long as it was, but hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing my thought process on these questions. I certainly enjoyed playing them. Massive, massive shout out to Benny and Lunacy for organizing this entire thing. This takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and they did such a great job and put it together in such a short time. I'm just, honestly, yeah, I'm astounded by the quality of everything here. The questions are just fantastic, so huge shout out to them. And if you guys are interested in getting in on the action and playing these questions yourselves, absolutely do. You can join the Discord server, first link in the description, and plenty more of these awesome trivia questions to come. So yeah, that's it for the debut of the Lyons Den Quiz League. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm very eager already to see you next week for another set of questions. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.